Thanks for that. Next question comes from Ritesh Raval, who says, what are the team's views on Facebook stock now that it's changed its name to Meta and plans to invest heavily in the Metaverse?
Why don't I let Jules lead on this one, because I've done a lot of talking.
I think there is a view out there that to use an oil analogy, that Facebook is off drilling some speculative well in some very obscure part of the world that nobody else is interested in. And that is just not the case. I have a quote here from Tim Cook, the chief executive of Apple. This area is very interesting to us. A quote from Mark Zuckerberg, this is not something we're going to create on our own. What they are doing at the moment is spending a lot of money on data centers, because clearly to power the metaverse, you're going to need a much more powerful set of data centers than just to provide static photographs or even short videos. But it is something which I think is being seen as kind of some sort of revolution, some kind of expedition into the unknown. I think it's more really evolution, to the degree that, and when you think about some things like gaming, that's, there already, a lot of them are performed in the metaverse. Obviously, there are a lot of headsets out there already. We're probably waiting for Apple to produce the killer headset or the killer pair of glasses. I think this is something, I personally think that people who treat it as something weird and speculative, as Terry said in answer to the last question, I think if we meet back here in 5 or particularly 10 years' time, I think we'll probably look back in amusement that we thought the metaverse was something weird, because I think we'll all be living in it then.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that a little, Ian, if I may. I mean, what we've got, meanwhile, looking into the core business of Meta or Facebook, while that's going on, is a business which is in social media and communications. So it's got the original Facebook brand, and obviously it's got Instagram and it's got WhatsApp there. And people often get very hooked up on the number of daily average users, about 2 billion as it happens, and so on, what they're doing. The real business, of course, is digital advertising. It's got about 7 million people in business who advertise on it, and that's the actual business here. That pays. It's the only bit that pays any revenue. That's for sure. That's what I define a business as. And that business, looking back on last year, was producing $115 billion of revenue and had a 49% operating profit margin, which save you a lot of strenuous arithmetic, means that we own this stock, that business, on a P of about 14. Right now. Obviously, the share price performance has been poor recently, very poor. But it certainly says that we're owning that digital advertising business pretty cheaply, I would suggest, at the moment. I mean, if it weren't doing any of this metaverse stuff, and we've got a slide there which you can see for the investment, which Julian's been referring to, we would have that digital advertising business exposed without any of this spend. But there's a chap called Nick Sleep, who was a fund manager, who did a famous sort of not analysis, but he talked to his analysis of Costco, the US club retailer, and he pointed out that Costco operated on lower margins than most retailers, about half. So if Walmart's on 25, they're on 12 or 13 or something like that, and that their operating margins, if Walmart's on 3.5, they're on 2 or something, 1.7 or something like that. And he said that's deliberate, and furthermore, they could at any moment just go and increase the prices, probably double the margins up to Walmart's level. Would it be a better business? So we currently own the digital advertising business on a P of about 14, and they're spending all this other money out there. The question to ask ourselves is not whether or not, sometimes, not always whether or not that's kind of, because it's overlaying the financial outcome of our digital advertising business adversely, because it's a spend after all. It's whether if they stop, whether their future will be better or worse. Right? And I mean, the metaverse is one that people are light upon because of the change of name and because it is a new thing and so on. So, but there's a lot of other things they're spending money on, which they might work or they might not work, but they're certainly very interesting. I mean, the next great market for a number of things, possibly not just social media and communications, but also maybe cosmetics. Is the thing that, as I'm looking at you, Ian, is above the left-hand side of your head, called Africa. and I mean, you know, Meta is laying a fibre optic cable around Africa, around the coast of Africa, which I believe is about as long as the circumference of the world, basically, because all those people in Africa, which might be a potential market for its services, certainly aren't going to be an actual market for its services. They can't access it.
Okay, well, we're going to stay with